Okay, so in this video we're going to use the quadratic equation to find the x-intercepts or the roots of these quadratic equations. Now basically if you look at this, it's a trinomial. Typically you want to start by using your man method, but if you try your man method here, it's not going to work. I'll show you real quick. So my m is negative 21, 3 times negative 7. My a is negative 2. There's no numbers that multiply to give me this and add to give me this. So man does not work here. That's when you go to the quadratic equation, which I've got up over here. Now the first value here is your a, the second value is your b, and the last one is your c. We're just going to sub that into the quadratic equation and then solve it. So I'll do that over here. X equals to negative b. My b is negative 2. So negative of negative 2 is positive 2 plus or minus b square, so that's negative 2 square, minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is negative 7, divided by 2 times my a value, which is 3. So in my first step, I like to substitute all the values in. In the second step, I'm going to enter this whole thing in my calculator. So negative 2 square minus 4 times 3 times negative 7, that gives me 88. So I do that whole calculation in one step, and then I'll do the bottom multiplication in the same step as well. 2 times 3 is 6. Now I'm going to enter this whole thing into my calculator. I'll show you how to do the plus and minus as well. We're basically going to have two different solutions in this case. So what I do is I want to type this whole thing in my calculator in one step. Remember, in some calculators you're going to have to use a bracket like mine. So 2 plus square root 88 divided by 6. Make sure you put a bracket around the top if you don't have a fraction in your calculator like mine. Then I'm going to hit equals and I get 1.897. Now I'm just going to switch this plus sign to a minus sign, so that's where the plus or minus comes in, and I'm going to hit equals and I get negative 1.230. So negative 1.23. So these are my two x-intercepts for this first problem here. Let me try another problem, and this problem again, I know it can be done with perfect square. Technically if you got this in a test, you would be doing it with perfect square, but I just want to show it using the quadratic equation. So x equals to negative 12 plus or minus square root of 12 square minus 4 times 4 times 9 divided by 2 times a, which is 4. I'll do the same thing. I'll start with the calculation inside the square root. So 12 square minus 4 times 4 times 9 is 0 over 8, and that's one specific reason why I want to show this. If you have plus or minus of square root 0, it's just going to simplify the equation. This whole thing is going to disappear because if you add or subtract 0, it doesn't really matter. There's no difference. So it's just going to simplify to negative 12 over 8, which is just negative 1.5. So in this question, we only have one solution. There's only one x-intercept. Okay, and let's take a look at this last question. Again, I'm going to sub it into my equation. So x equals to negative b plus or minus root of b square minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a, which is negative 12 plus or minus, put that in my calculator, 12 square minus 4 times 4 times 15 is negative 96. Now in this case we have a negative number in the square root. It's not possible to square root a negative number, so we have no x-intercepts. Basically you cannot solve this question because it has no x-intercepts.